Well, hey fans, welcome back to another Tribeca review, and today we're talking about A Quiet Place Day One. So, A Quiet Place Day One is an apocalyptic horror film directed by Michael Sarnoski, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn. This is the third film in the Quiet Place franchise, and this one is set around the same time as the opening to A Quiet Place Part 2, which is when the aliens first crash land on Earth, and it follows this terminally ill patient named Sam, who during this post-apocalyptic event goes on a quest to find a pizza she loved from her childhood. And on this journey, she meets this British law student named Eric, and they form a friendship while trying to escape these creatures. Now, for those who don't know who Michael Sarnoski is, he directed a little film called Pig, starring Nicolas Cage. It was his feature-length directorial debut. I highly recommend you check it out. I have a review on the site. He is very good at eliciting emotion from his actors, and I think he does a great job in this film as well. Lupita Nyong'o, her character is a very emotional character. She goes through a wide range of emotions within this film, dealing with the fact that she's dying, that the earth is practically ending, and that she just really wants to eat this pizza. She's angry, upset, sad, so many wide ranges of emotions, and I think that Sarnoski does a great job bringing that out of her. He also does a good job of bringing the fear out of Joseph Quinn's character Eric, the anxiety, the just hopelessness of how is he going to make it out of this? Is he ever going to see his parents again? All of that, I think the acting between these two co-leads is fantastic, and Sarnoski is a wonderful director for bringing out such great performances, and I hope he has a great career ahead of him. I do like the way the film looked. There's not really a lot more, I'm not going to say there's not a lot more you can do with this franchise, but it's basically going to be the same premise for each film. You know, you got these highly powerful alien creatures who are blind, but they can hear very well and they can use echolocation, and they're very hard to kill. So the plot of the movies are basically going to just be survive. How can we survive this? And I think, kind of like The Walking Dead, the way to move forward with this franchise is you got to tell a unique story within this world, and that's what happened here. I really did enjoy this story. It's smaller, it's unique, it is kind of similar to the other two films, but definitely different on a whole nother level. The fact that it takes place in a bigger city like New York, the fact that it's wholly around the first couple of days of this invasion, I think just elevates the story somewhat. It does give the audience a little more context into, you know, how the United States handled this invasion. And you can tell like the military was somewhat intelligent in figuring out like what makes these creatures tick. They know like that the creatures are attracted to sound. They know that they can't swim, and even when they try to get people to evacuate, they like fly helicopters over the city to lead them in the opposite direction so that the people can make it to water and get on these boats. So I thought that was an excellent scene. The way that a lot of the cinematography is great. There's this one scene where Lupita Nyong'o's character just walks out into what evokes almost a feeling of like 9/11. The city's just destroyed. She's alone. There's nothing but dust clouds in front of her. And then you pan out and see just how ravaged the city is. I just thought that was a wonderful shot. You could have basically put that on a poster. It just looked great. The sound is great. The lack of sound is great, as within all these movies. And I think that there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. Of course, it's a Quiet Place film. And I think just the way that they made use of the environment, the hand signals, even though they don't know sign language like they did in the other films, to just show how the characters can communicate with each other was pretty great as well. So there's a character in this film who's a nurse. His name is Ruben. He is Sam's nurse, and he's played by Alex Wolff, who also starred in Pig. Funny note, his older brother is Nat Wolff, and I had no idea that they were separate people. I had no idea that these guys were brothers. I thought they were the same person. I really like the movie Paper Towns, which stars Nat Wolff, and I thought that was Alex Wolff. I thought they were the same. And I was looking at him in this movie, and I was like, this guy looks really familiar, but he has a beard. When I found out who it is, and then I found out that he's not who I actually thought he was, that they're two different people, I thought it was interesting. I just want to throw that in there. This film is also connected to the other two films via the character of Henry, who's portrayed by Djimon Hounsou. He is the survivor who we meet on the island in the second film. So we kind of get his origin story in this film. It's not a major role, but I'm glad they would bring him back. Just kind of tie these two or these three films together. This film also does a great job at explaining just a little bit more about these creatures. One of my, not really a criticism, just something I've wondered about these creatures since I saw the first film is whenever they attack a human and kill them, you never see them like eating the corpse or anything like that. So I want to know like what gives these creatures sustenance? How do they survive? And in this film, there is a small scene where you see one of the creatures locate some kind of, I don't know, giant fruit looking thing. He cracks it open and he actually communicates with the other ones. I don't think we've heard them communicate with each other, and summons them, and they all just start eating all of these little round things that I think fell to the planet with them. And I thought that was an interesting highlight, that we know that they do require food to survive, but it looks like they can only eat some kind of alien substance that may be explained in a further Quiet Place movie. I think there is at least one more coming, so I would like to see more about that. But yeah, I think this is another solid entry in this franchise. They can keep going as long as they can think of like some very niche original stories to portray in this apocalyptic world. Like in terms of a score, I'm gonna give A Quiet Place Day One a decent 8.9 out of 10. I really did enjoy the smaller story. I enjoyed the acting, the characters, the cinematography, the sound. I'm not gonna say it's like scary per se. There are like a few like jump scares, but it is definitely just a great and well-made film. For even if you're not like a fan of this franchise, I think you'd be a fan of what they did with this story. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me for a movie review. Remember, you can watch the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.